The boy was scared to pick up the gun, staring at the fierce Lion King, but saw that the Lion King gradually calmed down, and the boy was still soft and did not move the trigger. But who could have thought that the boy's father was in this situation, and he hit his son hard. The injured Lion King quickly hit the boy, and he began to scream crazily, while the father on the other side seemed very calm, and the guns avoided the Lion King's gun because he did not want to break the Lion King's head and let himself miss this great war. The behavior of the father's selfishness eventually led to the boy being picked up by the Lion King, who thought that the boy was still alive. But who would have thought that a drop of blood was accidentally dropped into the wound? And at this moment, the blood started to melt in the boy's body, and he came back from the state of ice and death. It is unknown that this accident has made Kraven inherit the power of the Lion King, but at this time, he did not know the changes in his body. Kraven, who was still in the hospital, was forced to be taken home from the hospital by his father, but unexpectedly, his father did not care about his son's injuries. Instead, he blamed him for being too weak in the face of the Lion King's performance, and even thought that this weakness would not be able to inherit his Black Gang empire. It is unknown that this almost partial suppression is a teaching that has long made Kraven face the silence of his father's incident. Until Kraven saw his father's hunting results, the anger and grievance hidden in his heart finally broke out at this moment. "I should have killed you. What's going on with you?" Angrily, Kraven locked himself in the room. What his father did led him completely disappointed in this family. So he took the cover of the dark night, sneaked away from the roof of the house. He came all the way to his mother's hometown, but he just stepped on it. I heard a loud roar from afar. Kraven looked at it. It was a group of wild cows run to him. But now it's too late to run away. Kraven shrank his body in panic to reduce the damage the cow did to him. However, what surprised him was this group of wild cows not only did not hurt themselves, instead, they were separated from each other. After seeing that they were not in danger, Kraven found out it turned out to be this mighty wild cow king blocked all the harm for him. After this encounter, Kraven only found out after a while he can not only have a mental connection with animals, his physical quality has become far superior to that of a normal person. The long hair in his hand only needs to be thrown lightly. You can easily hit the target 100 meters away, run all the way. The most fierce deer in the forest can also become the target of his own pursuit, and his jumping is even more exaggerated. But at this time, the sound of the slingshot made Kraven nervous. He hurriedly climbed to the top of the tree, gave strength to his eyes, but saw a scene that made people angry. Kraven, who witnessed all this, quickly arrived at the crime scene. He found those slaughtered wild cows laying on the ground in a row. The tragic scene shocked Kraven. At this time, who would have thought that the hunter had not left? They were very arrogant. Let Kraven leave his territory. It is not known that their arrogant behavior gave himself the fire of death. Only see Kraven pick up the dagger on the ground. The anger in his heart came out at this moment. The first time the killer, Kraven, did not feel afraid. Instead, under the influence of blood loss, let him open the door to the new world. As time goes by, Kraven became a legend in the killer world. In addition to liking to attack those traitors, he will also eliminate those who are not afraid of being a coward. All the prey he was looking for, Kraven sent them back to their hometown. Without exception, even the Black Gang boss hiding in the prison, he will try to get into it, then kill it miserably. Then with the quality of the body free to travel under the warning of the sweep, finally escape the prison without damage. But a wave of unparalleled violence is not enough to stop him from leaving the prison. Kraven just returned to the grassland and met a group of traitors. They will capture the wild boar one frame by frame on the truck. Just on the way back from the traitors, Kraven has been waiting for them for a long time on their way to the capital. This is private territory. As far as I understand, we are going to get rid of you. You are right. You will be killed as soon as the enemy takes you. And the boss of this gang had already been set up by Kraven on the doorstep, and Kraven, who completed the task, did not leave London because he found the former lifesaver Callie. It turned out that when Kraven was taken away by the Lion King, that Lion King sent him to Callie's side. It was at that time that the blood of the Lion King and Callie gave him a mysterious medicine. It quickly fused in his body and brought him mysterious and ancient power. But at that time, Callie did not have any joy of reunion because his mentor was killed in a case of agent. But as the most famous lawyer in London, he could not avenge his mentor, and that murderer was the boss of the gang killed by Kraven in the prison. But after Callie knew about this, he did not agree with Kraven's way of reporting to deal with those bad guys. However, what they did not know was that the boss of the gang's death soon passed into the ears of this so-called Lion King. He was ambitious and wanted to take over the boss as soon as possible. But his subordinates brought a USB drive to let him get rid of this idea because the murderer of the boss of the gang was his ex-boss's son. This made him worried because as long as the father and son were eliminated, they would definitely use the ability of Kraven's assassination to take advantage advantage of all the gang, so the Lion King. In order to protect himself, the conspiracy against Kraven was so clever, and at this time, Kraven didn't know the danger was coming when he went to visit his stepmother's brother. Kraven was terrified to find that his brother was missing. Only a bloodstain was left on the bed. When Kraven was chased to the balcony, his brother was caught by a group of kidnappers. Kraven left the balcony without hesitation, although this height is not a big problem for him. But the kidnapper's car had already disappeared in the corner. In order to save his brother, Kraven burst into a beastly speed all the way to the dock when the helicopter was about to take off. Kraven threw out a net with all his might, then pinched the horse's cloth to pull down the helicopter. Kraven had already controlled the helicopter, but at this moment the kidnappers suddenly came to a standstill. Kraven had no choice but to hide for a while and quickly took up a steel tube to make a return. Kraven was so fierce the driver was in a hurry to control the helicopter. The helicopter quickly took off. In a hurry, Kraven caught the net on the helicopter. That's how he was dragged to the sea. He walked hundreds of meters until he hit a bat and was thrown out. But the T-Rex didn't expect that Kraven would use this method to get into it. It's just like a ghost that lurks in the castle. The feet of the T-Rex are even behind the guards, and they won't let them find out. From this, it can be seen that Kraven's hidden essence has already been created, and the next one-sided killing, it's more like Kraven's beastly essence. Finally, in the hands of the kidnapped brother, Kraven flew out of a flying pool. When he asked where his brother was, he didn't know that the T-Rex was still here. Kraven thought it was too late. He could only take the leader down from the castle. When they landed, Kraven used his body to protect the leader. How do you know my name? Who set me up? Who took my brother? He's killed us both now. The explosion scared Kraven. Countless rocks were falling on him. He hurriedly rolled up his body, ready to resist the falling rocks. But in the end, the fallen rocks were buried. When the T-Rex's killer came to Kraven, Kraven didn't want Kraven to walk out of the killer's back. He didn't give them time to react. Kraven quickly took action, solved the two killers who killed him. At the same time, Kraven was afraid that Callie would be in danger, so he took him to his hideout. But who would have thought that the T-Rex would find an excellent killer to help him in order to deal with Kraven? This person also has a special ability. All you have to do is take off your glasses. You can hypnotize everyone on the spot and then appear behind the enemy unexpectedly. The killer told the T-Rex that Kraven was an almost perfect hunter, and the only way to deal with him is to inject this special poison into his body. But as soon as the group of people found Kraven, they began to prepare themselves fully for the trap. It is unknown that hunters often appear in the form of prey. Kraven not only easily found the trap they set up, but also in his own home. Kraven became a real hunter. He collected the lives of the prey in 2 turns. Not only that, Kraven also prepared a big reward for the group of people. The cry of his men made the T-Rex feel very embarrassed, so he sent a helicopter to launch a carpet-like bombing, using the speed advantage to get rid of this bombing. But in the next second, followed by Kraven, under the influence of the poison, suddenly felt dizzy. Then he was scared to find that there were a lot of spiders on his head. At this time, the killer appeared strangely behind Kraven, but now Kraven has become extremely weak. A few hands down, instead, he was kicked to the ground by the killer. When the killer took out his pistol and wanted to end Kraven's life, suddenly a flying arrow hit the killer. It turned out that Callie was helping at this critical moment. On the other hand, the T-Rex told the little brother that Kraven was dead, so he took Kraven's brother to return to the base. But at this time, the T-Rex was scared to find that a group of wild cows were rushing towards them. Under the situation, the T-Rex untied the rope on his body. At this moment, his skin began to harden slowly. When the herd turned the car upside down, Kraven jumped out from behind the rolling car. At this time, the T-Rex had also completed the transformation. It turned out that this name was not only his nickname, but also the ability he obtained after the transformation. The T-Rex, after the transformation, his power is even greater than Kraven's. Even in the face of an urgent rush, the T-Rex's truck can also top it off at once. Then he raised the cart over the top of his head and threw it at the enemy. The rhino was not only powerless, but his skin was as sharp as a knife. Even a carefully made hunter can't do any harm to him just like that. Whether it's power or defense, it's higher than Kraven's monster. He turned him into a sandbag, hit him with his mouth and blood. Then the rhino again with his own manly. Kraven and the cart crashed together, but before the rhino was satisfied for a long time, Kraven again knocked on the moon. When Kraven was about to suffocate, he found a weakness of the rhino. He hammered the steel into the connection of the pipe. Pain made the rhino have to choose to let go at the same time. Pain also made this beast completely lose his mind. Just when the rhino was about to come back, Kraven pulled out the steel bar on the cart, tied the rhino up, and threw the other end of the steel bar to the wild bull. When the bull group stepped on the rhino, his transformation began to slowly come out. It's a long-lived look, however. Things are far from over. Kraven found his father. It turned out that the rhino was a monster. The video that was revealed to the rhino, it's from this father. However, after being torn apart, this father did not feel guilty because he already knew Kraven is the mysterious killer who kills evil people. So he colluded with the rhino in secret just to get rid of this yin. After knowing the truth, Kraven was disappointed because he never wanted to harm his own father, and now he has to make a choice, but Craven didn't do it himself. As Craven's palm opened slowly, the male bear also attacked his father at this time. Time passed. Craven came to visit his brother again, but he was surprised to find the weak brother not only took over all of his father's help and also accepted the same transformation experiment as the rhino. The brother who was weak and needed help, it no longer exists. It is known that it will cause a storm of bloodshed in the future, and it's between the two brothers. He told Craven his father left him a special gift. I hope Craven can go home. When Craven returned to his former home, he found a long-lost box in the corner of the living room. There is also a letter from his father on it, however. The content on it shocked Craven a lot because of this one. He has been oppressed since he was a child. He is the father of education, but it's full of affirmation for his son and hope his son will accept his own strength, strengthen his own path, and also left one for Craven, the top coat made of lion's fur. It's full of his father's expectations, hoping that Craven will use his strength and wisdom to bring glory to the whole family.